This is Grapplers Talk.
What is up, fans of Grapplers Talk? This is Dave coming at you with another episode. Each and every week, we are here to bring you the best grappling content with the best guest on the planet. And I am thrilled to be joined by our guest in studio this week. And before I introduce him, thank you to all of the fans for downloading the podcast each and every week on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, wherever you're downloading. We appreciate the love and support. I got a couple of announcements before we get into this awesome episode. We are looking to cover more events. So if you are looking to host a jiu-jitsu tournament, some sort of jiu-jitsu competition, please reach out to us. We want to be there. If you are in Northern California or close area, even Nevada, let us know what's up. So we are here to talk to you guys and, provide you guys with some good content. Explore the local scene, man. We got a really great local scene of grapplers, and I just want to really promote them. And I'm thrilled to be joined by our guest this week. He is a black belt from Stockton Jiu-jitsu Academy. He is a good friend of mine. I've known this guy for a couple years now, and man, he's a great guy. Thrilled to have on the show, man, Todd from Stockton Jiu-jitsu Academy, man. What is up, brother?
What's up, man? Happy to be here, dude.
Yeah, thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule. I know everyone's got things going on in life, and I appreciate getting to sit down and getting your time. It's very valuable, so appreciate you for being on. I wanted to get into your story, and I know you have a unique kind of journey. No one's journeys are alike. I've talked to a lot of grapplers. We're 50-something episodes into this thing now, and I've talked to a lot of grapplers out there, and no two stories have ever been the same. And I want to get into your story, how you got introduced into jiu-jitsu, why you got introduced into it, and, kind of your history, your background in grappling.
Yeah, like you said, man, everything's different for sure. I've been around for... I think this is my 16th year of training jiu-jitsu now. And it all started, I remember I was at my cousin's house watching the fights, and it was when Lyoto Machida got knocked out Rashad, sorry.
Oh, knocked out Rashad, okay.
So that weekend with my cousins watching the fights, and one of my cousins was training at Sencal.
Okay.
With Moses over there.
Was it the Sencal back downtown, or was it at the time on Pacific Avenue?
I believe it was on Pacific.
Okay.
It wasn't the new one on Pacific over by Safeway. It was right before that.
Okay.
Because this was like, what, 2009?
Okay, yeah.
So I think it was still on California Street, maybe.
They were downtown, like Grant Street or
something
some shit
like that.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So my cousin Ben, he was training there. He was getting ready for a fight, and we'd always boxed and kickboxed back in the day, growing up and stuff,
Yeah.
So he's like, "Hey, come help me."
What's Ben's last name?
Huerta. Yeah. Short, 5'7",
I wonder if
bald.
I remember him.
Maybe. He was there. Dude, he's a brawler, man.
Yeah. Everyone over
He's
there
just a
was
brawler,
back
dude.
then.
He was over there with Jimmy Burton a lot. I don't know if you remember Jimmy. Yeah. So, anyways, he was like, "Hey, man, I got a fight coming up next couple weeks. Come help me spar." I was like, "Cool, I'll come help you." A couple days later, I'm over there, 21 years old, thinking I can beat up everybody.
Yeah.
He takes me down, takes my back, strangles me within like 3 seconds. I was like, "What the fuck is this?" I was like, "You're not gonna do that again."
Yeah.
He did it again.
It happened.
So
yeah.
I got home, opened up the phone book, looked for jiu-jitsu in the phone book, found Ronin Jiu-Jitsu, signed up that day.
Yeah.
And it's been history ever since.
Oh yeah, dude. It's that humbling experience right off the bat, right?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people get that their first or second time in class, or whenever they get to roll live, they get to feel that experience of somebody that you really don't think can take you.
Yeah, for sure.
And they fucking take you and humble you.
Yeah, 100%, man. Especially someone who's able to get underneath you and elevate you.
Yeah.
Like, that's the most humbling feeling in the world.
Oh, yeah.
You're
flying through the air.
Yeah, 145-pound girl or 115-pound girl pick you up. And you're like, what the hell is going on?
Yeah. Being a young man getting into that game, did you have intentions on being like an MMA fighter or anything like that?
Not so much, but kind of got thrown into it.
Yeah.
Did that for a little bit, and then... But it's crazy, man. I really believe in things happen for a reason.
Yeah.
And I remember one of the first people who greeted me when I walked into jiu-jitsu was Rich Flores.
Yeah.
You know, he was a white belt at the time. Obviously, our journeys went different routes from there. You know,
yeah.
but now I'm back with him. I've been with him since 2019 now, and I wouldn't go anywhere else. You know.
Yeah. Yeah, Rich is such a good guy, man. He's always very welcoming. Every experience I've ever had with Rich has always been positive. And you know, he's just a good guy. You know, he's gonna make you feel at home, make you feel welcome when you walk into an establishment where he's at.
For sure.
And so getting to train. So you started with Ronan. Did you? How long were you there before you decided, you know, to go somewhere else?
So I think I was with Ronan for maybe a year and a half or so, and
Okay.
I was living out in Linden at the time.
Long
And
drive.
That's a 50-minute drive, you know.
Yeah.
And my cousin, his house was off of Waterloo Road, 99. So what I was doing for the whole time I was at Ronan, I would go learn whatever they were teaching, whatever Ernest was teaching, or Chuck Walker or whatever.
Yeah.
And I think Bobby, the Hawaiian guy, was there at the same time.
Yeah, Bobby Lama.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was good, man.
Dude, that guy's incredible.
I know. They were all brown belts at the time when I was there. And then I would come back to my cousins, and I would teach everybody there what I learned.
Yeah.
So, like, I've been teaching since I started. You know?
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
And it always helped me understand the technique a lot better. So, being a bigger guy, and it made me very technical, I feel, you know?
Absolutely. And teaching, you break things down.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you start to like really, really pay attention to why he's moving that way or why they're shifting their hips. Or,
Yeah.
And so you want to relay it as best as possible, so you break it down a little bit more.
Yeah, that's I still same thing whenever I teach it. Whenever I teach a technique, I make sure I explain why I do it this way and why I'm not doing it that way.
Yeah.
Obviously, different body types work differently, but this is why I do it this way. Play with it, but you know, you put your hand here.
Yeah.
You know, you can get arm dragged, certain, you know, things like that.
Absolutely.
So from there, I don't remember exactly why I left Ronan, because that was 15, 16 years, you know,
Yeah, a
14,
long time
15 years
ago,
ago,
yeah.
you know. But I can't remember where we ended up. Anyways, between then, like, little gap, and then I ran into Lynn somehow, had a conversation with him. He was at Andres at the time.
Yeah.
This is probably late 2011,
Oh yeah.
around then.
Okay. Yeah.
They were still in Valor.
Yeah. I trained there a couple times while they were still.
Yeah,
in
Bobby
Valor.
was there as a blue belt. Lynn was there as a blue belt. And having a conversation with Lynn, found out he was in the same graduating class as my mom and things like that. So we connected pretty quickly, right?
Yeah.
So I started training with them I was with them till probably 2013 or so.
Okay.
Training with Andres, doing the same thing, going back and forth.
Yeah.
Doing some kickboxing, MMA stuff.
Were you training with the Valor guys?
No.
Okay.
No, I was training with the Beast Mode guys. Remember them back in the day?
Okay. Yeah.
James Harden and them.
Yeah. They were downtown, right, or something like that.
Yeah. It was downtown, like this
Had
little.
a few fighters fight for Hooked on Endorphins back in the day. For Chad, my buddy Chad was a MMA promoter. And
Yeah, I remember
was,
Chad.
Yeah, he's promoting those fights, and I remember I announced him from Beast Mode MMA. Moses was teaching there, right?
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, he was working with a few of the guys. From what I remember.
Anthony Taylor was there. Pretty Boy Taylor.
Yeah.
One of my good friends, Cameron Quiggle.
Yeah, Cameron. He had a fight. He had a few fights.
He had probably
some
like
tough
6 or 7
dude.
fights.
The kid was tough.
Yeah, he's a good kid, man. He's back east now.
Is he?
Kentucky, I believe.
Okay.
Haven't talked to him in a few years, but he's like my little brother.
Yeah.
So from there, it was, I want to say, end of 2013. Riding dirt bikes out in Wilseyville, in the woods.
What'd you say? Wilseyville?
Wilseyville, up by West Point.
West Point.
It's
okay. Fancy
probably,
area?
No.
No.
You'll be. It's Wilseyville. It's up Calaveras County.
Okay.
Up in the like hills have eyes type shit.
Oh, okay. Creepy.
Yeah. So there's like good woods riding up there. Ended up breaking my leg.
Oh shit.
I want to say that was early 2014 maybe. So ended up getting a blood clot from that.
Wow, that's scary.
Yeah, I took 1 year and 10 months off from any contact kind of sport. No riding dirt bikes, no jiu-jitsu, nothing. And in that time is when I was getting ready to train again, I ran into Manny. So Manny was back in California, or back in the area. Ran into Manny, started training with him, met Yeppy there, and was with him till about 2019.
Wow.
And then went to Rich.
Yeah. Yeah, and Manny, man, he's such a good guy. You know, a lot of people like training with him, and I got a good buddy, Chris. He was on the show for a long time, but he trains over there with Manny, and Manny's growing, dude. He just opened up another gym. He opened up a bigger location, and he's doing some big things, man. And he wouldn't be doing those things if he wasn't providing a good quality product. And it's good to see him develop and kind of where these guys have gone. Guys like Yeppy and like people that you mentioned. He's competed on a very high level and definitely working with a great team out in Texas and. But starting here in the roots of Stockton, Lodi, the Central Valley, man, we got a history of some badass people coming out of this area.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you anymore on that.
Yeah.
Speaking of Manny's new location, I actually do help him out there. I teach at 3 p.m. on Tuesdays.
Right. I'm glad you got into that. So you've been teaching now for Rich for a while, right? Because he makes you teach as a brown belt. Correct?
Yeah. So I've been teaching for Rich, I would say about 3.5 years.
Yeah.
Roughly. I run the Monday no-gi class at 6:30 p.m. every Monday. I try to only teach things that I do.
Yeah.
Effective
things, right?
Yeah. It's funny. Like when I first started, I was like, man, I'm going to run out of stuff to do, in a month or so. Yeah. But no, I'm still
going strong.
It's kind of crazy. You really learn about your own jiu-jitsu when you start teaching, especially when you start teaching adults.
100%. How do you do you track your teaching in a certain way? Like, do you take notes on things? How do you plan out your lessons or your classes, or what gives you inspiration for that?
So a lot of times it's during live rolls. I'm like, okay, what position am I getting on people a lot? What am I able to finish effectively and consistently? And then I try to break it down maybe 3-4 weeks later. More so to help myself.
Yeah.
Because once people start figuring out what I'm doing, I got to get better at it.
Yeah.
So basically it's whatever I'm doing or Mateus is a monster.
Yeah.
If he makes requests all the time, like, hey, you did this, or I saw you do this, or you're talking about this. Can we go over it?
Yeah.
Or he's like, hey, I made this mistake in my last match. Can you help me break it down?
Yeah.
So a lot of the stuff I teach is based on what Mateus needs.
Yeah. You were with him on his last IBJJF. Card,
last weekend.
Right? Yeah.
Rich and I were there on Saturday, and then I was there with him on Sunday.
Right. Did he get silver or something? Right.
Yeah, he got silver in the gi and silver in no gi.
Okay. Yeah, man. That kid is so good, man. I don't know how he loses ever. He's just so good. Like, he's incredible, man. He makes jiu-jitsu look really beautiful.
Yeah, he's only been training for like 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
He's a brand new purple belt.
Yeah.
And he's out there competing with purple belts that have been purple belts for a long time.
Oh, dude, he's doing well. You know, he's doing very well in the competitive scene. He's the Arte Suave champion, and I'm excited to see him and what he's going to be in the future too. He's not even close to reaching his peak or anything like that.
Man, he's only like 22 years old.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, man. He's just getting started.
I didn't even start training until I was 21.
Yeah, man.
And then I think, when was the last Jiu-Jitsu World League in Anaheim? Wasn't it like maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago or so?
I'm not sure. I don't keep up with Jiu-Jitsu World League.
So he went down there, and Yeppy ran into him and cornered him for a few matches. So
nice. How did he do out there?
You know what? I'm not too sure. I think he got silver.
Yeah.
I'm not sure though.
Yeah, I'm excited to see more of Mateus and the whole crew is Stockton Jiu-Jitsu. You guys got an awesome crew over there. And
yeah. there's some sleepers for sure.
Oh, dude, there's some guys over there that are, and girls, that are just really good. And Rich is putting out a good quality product in his students, man. And, you guys are doing well in the competitive scene and, guys out there that are just doing the damn thing, man. Rich is always doing it too. Like that's the crazy thing, man, is Rich, he leads by example for sure.
Yeah, he'll be at LA Open this weekend.
Yeah. See,
so
there
Mateus,
you go. For example,
I'm excited to see how they do, especially because Mateus he's going to go to Pans this year. So see how he does out there as well.
Yeah. Have you done much jiu-jitsu competition or anything?
Not in a
like
long
that?
time.
Yeah.
I've always had a busy job,
Yeah.
so it makes it hard, especially coming from training MMA and training with people who are fighting MMA. I know what it takes to put into it, and I'm not going to half-ass something,
Right.
Last summer, I was going to do a fight to win.
Okay.
They couldn't find me a match.
Yeah.
So I think they're coming back around in July, so maybe I'll try that.
Yeah. Yeah, those fight to wins are pretty badass.
Yeah.
Yeah, and man, it's such a being on Flow Grappling too. Like, I mean, that's a big stage, dude. Like, you can't deny it. I know people hate on Flows, people are not fans of Flow Grappling out there, but it's a really big stage, and it's only growing. They're at 300-400 shows or something like that, right?
There's a lot.
There are a lot of them now.
I remember when Rich and Manny were on like number 4.
Back in the day, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, they've definitely grown a lot over the past just few years. Not that long either.
Yeah.
Like, there's been an uptake in jiu-jitsu. You were talking about MMA. Did you ever get into having any fights or getting deep into it, or what made you stop the MMA?
I didn't get super deep into it. I had like 2 or 3 amateur fights.
Yeah.
But mainly, like it was like hit and miss, with work and things like that. And then when I had that when I wrecked the motorcycle.
Yeah.
And then took that time off, like the brain fog, like being able to put sentences together and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, didn't realize how bad it was. So I was like, you know what? I don't know if I want to do this anymore,
Yeah.
So I haven't sparred since then. Actually, maybe once or twice.
Yeah.
But I hit pads when I can, things like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just kind of drifted away from it.
To me, it just takes 1 or 2 devastating injuries with MMA before you got to really start to question, hey, am I going to either get to the UFC, or if I get to the UFC, am I going to be winning?
Yeah.
Right? It's a tough fucking game.
Yeah. I always had good rounds with the people around here that were coming up, like Cameron. And that kid hits hard, man.
Yeah.
But
he can take one too. I remember he was fighting some tough guys.
But it's because you should only spar hard once every now, not very often.
Right.
And we would fight every single day.
Yeah.
Every day that we trained, it was like a legit fight.
Yeah.
Knocking each other out, dropping each other. You can't do that for too long.
Yeah.
Even at the low level, you still can't do that for long. You know. So yeah, that's it. I just had a wake up call and just kind of drifted away from it.
Yeah. You see guys that kind of hang around the game too long, and you don't want to be one of those, right?
Yeah.
That's got to be the worst, is being one of those. I stayed in too long. Now I don't know my own name.
Yeah.
Those are the
Fam Nam.
Yeah.
Did you see that?
Yeah, dude.
That's sad, man.
Oh, dude, it's wild.
Yeah, he was good too.
We can thank Isaac for part of that too.
Yeah. I think Isaac knocked him out twice, right?
I think just once, but I don't know. It could have been twice, but yeah, he knocked him out pretty good.
Yeah.
But that's fucked up to say. I'm sorry, Nan fam out there.
Yeah,
if you're a fan of Grapplers Talk, Isaac's my boy though.
Yeah.
But so we were talking about your teaching approach and kind of getting into some of the stuff you work on. What's your type of game that you like to play in jiu-jitsu, or are you mainly a gi guy or no gi guy? What's your preference with that?
So like I said, I started off in MMA, like that kind of style. So I've always been rooted to no gi.
Yeah.
But when I met Manny was real. It's funny. So I met Manny, and that was 2015, 2016 when I started training with him, right?
Yeah.
And the first question I asked him after I went train one night, and then afterwards I asked him a question. I was like, "Hey man, I got a serious question. What do you think about leg locks?" Because that was a big part of my game.
Yeah.
And coming from Andre's, Andre was like, if you
no,
do the ankle
yeah.
lock, he was going to kick you out, you know?
Yeah. Andres was very different with the leg locks.
Yeah. And then Manny was like, you're going to be perfect here. You know? So I developed a really good leg lock game, especially under Manny.
Yeah.
But he also made me fall in love with the gi.
Yeah.
Right. So especially training with Yeppy and like Yeppy and Manny, they're so well rounded everywhere in the gi, no gi, right? So I really focused heavy on the gi for a good 3-4 years, and then in 2021, I tore the tendon in my hand at work, and ever since then I haven't been able to grip. So it's back to no gi.
Yeah.
You know, I'll put the gi on every now and then.
Yeah.
I'll come in with a gi, and Rich's like, I didn't even know you had one of those.
Yeah.
You know, well, I still have like 30 of them, but you know, so primarily lately I need to get back in the gi, but a lot of no gi, and it's I wouldn't say that I can't grip. It's like more being stubborn. Like I don't want to push through it and work my grip strength when my no-gi stuff works, you know?
Right. And I mean, you get to a certain point, and when you're teaching classes, you got a career, you got things going on, you got a family. You know, you can't really push those things too much. You know, you got to, like the old method of training through it, like it works to a point, but then, I mean, the end result, you know, you're always fucked up. You know, you train through those things, you know, you got injuries forever, you know, and you know, you got to take some time and let things recover, let things work. But, you know, it's important, you know, it's important to stay in the gi too. Like even, you know, like you said, you're not primarily in the gi, but you're still wanting to visit it every once in a while. Yeah. So not leaving it behind, man. It's the no-gi game's different, dude. It's you could hate on me if you want out there, but your jiu-jitsu doesn't have to be as good in no-gi, to at least defensive, to get out of a lot of shit.
I agree with you.
You slip out of so much shit and wiggle out and jiggle out or whatever, you know, of so much shit when you're training in no-gi, dude. You don't have to be that great.
It's different too, because like you said, I agree with you 100% on that. It is a lot easier to get out of things. Yeah. But then at the same time, I feel like in no-gi, sometimes you have to be more athletic.
Yeah, the speed game, right?
It's there, you know? So that's where, like, if you're able to slow somebody down in no-gi, you're going to be able to stop everybody in the gi, you know? Yeah. If you are used to the grips, right? The grips are a huge game changer. Like my guard game, I'm really big on guard retention. I think that's one of the most important things when it comes to jiu-jitsu. Yeah. Because anybody can be big and strong on top, but if you get put on your back and your guard pass and you can't retain it, you're toast. You know, there's no point in even doing anything. You know. Yeah. So I really harp on having good guard retention. But that said, my guard game is completely different, gi and no gi, because, like you said, no-gi, you could slip out of things. Yeah. So I could put my feet in different places. Yeah. Because they're going to grab my ankle and I'm just going to straighten my leg and
slip right out.
It's gone, you know? Like in the gi, they get a good grip on the pants, the end of the pants or the knee. And it's like, you know,
I always do the illegal grip, the illegal IBJJF. Like you can't put your fingers inside the pants or something like that. Right?
Yeah. You can't go inside.
I used to do that all day, dude. Back when I was younger, back in the 05, 08 era. Yeah. I used to fucking do that all the time, man. Yeah. Fuck that.
That and elbows in the thighs.
Dude, I still elbow in the thigh, man. Fuck that. You ain't going to get by with me without an elbow in the thigh, dude. You got to know I'm there.
That's why Rich did that to me a couple months ago. I was like, what is this, fucking 2008 again? Like, come on, man.
It still works, man. Like some of those good old-fashioned moves, man, they're just so effective. I have a very simple, like, my game's not like, I don't have fancy bear and bowl. I mean, I guess I got them, but I don't use them. Yeah. You know, those fancy things, like, it's cool, but like you get older, you know, and you know, we're both the same age, right? Yeah. We're getting up there, and you know, you got to kind of adapt your game the older you get. You know, you can't roll like you did 10 years ago or 15 years ago, right?
You can't roll like I did 4 years ago.
Yeah, you got to change it, right? Yeah. And even you with adapting to the injury, right? Yeah. I mean, things in life happen, you know, and man, you get little injuries that pop up with jiu-jitsu that, like, you're like, man, I never knew I would have a knee injury. Like, and now my knee's fucked up.
Yeah, I remember I remember, I think I was a blue belt. Yeah, I was a blue belt. And like my style of guard retention, like I like to play like a knee shield. I like to play that game, right? Z guard knee shield. And if they start to try to pass, I'll just weave the top leg in, right? Yeah. But it puts a lot of pressure down on the knee. And I remember Manny told me, he's like, man, you need to start doing something a little bit different because you don't want to do that every time because your knees are going to start getting fucked up. Yeah, he was right. You know, 4 years later, like both knees are shot. Like,
yeah, that's what happens.
You know, they'll be good and then they're not, and then they are and then they're not. And it's like, you know, it's just part of the game though.
Yeah, I get these knee problems. Like, I don't know what it is, dude, but I don't want to get it operated on or anything like that. But dude, I've had some pretty bad knee things going on lately.
Yeah.
And you got to adapt, you know. And then my guard game sucked because I couldn't really do much because that knee was bugging me, you know. So I had to move on and develop different parts of my game. And you know, that's kind of the beauty of jiu-jitsu. There's so many different ways to do it, right? Mm-hmm. Different styles and different methods and different games you can force people into. And it's never endless, right? It's just continuing to go and that's the cool thing about jiu-jitsu to me.
Yeah, lately I've been just like playing with like indirect grips.
Yeah.
Like when it comes to nogi, letting them grip my wrist to control them, you know.
Yeah. They're attached.
Yep. You know, it's like I feel like a lot of times if I make one or two connections in nogi, I'm able to do well with whoever I'm with, you know.
Absolutely.
Lately also I like to play, like I said, Z-guard. So if we're starting on the ground like, you know, old people like to do, I've been laying on my left hip because everybody wants to pass to their left side. Now I'm forcing them to pass to their right side. And a lot of people get confused like that. Oh, yeah. And they make one grip, and I'm like, okay, and then they don't know where to go.
Right. You know? The one-sided thing is real, though. Like it
really is.
Some people are very good at one side, and it's weird, man. Like, you see it, like, especially from a teaching standpoint, like you really notice those things, like when you're watching people do the moves and you're like, oh man, that's not their good side for sure.
Yeah. I think it was during Christmas break, because whenever there's a holiday, we'll always do just open mats, right?
Yeah.
But it was one of those weeks where we had nothing but open mats the whole entire week, and a black belt from the Bay Area came, and I did that to him, laid to my left hip. And he was like confused, you know, and then he kept trying to pass, couldn't pass, and then at the end he's like, "Hey, are you a black belt?" I'm like, "Yeah," and he's like, "Man, I don't know what you did to me. Like, I couldn't figure out how to pass your guard." I was like, I laid to my left hip. And he's like, "Holy shit!" Yeah. He's like,
"That's simple."
He's like, I didn't know what to do. Yeah. I was like, you know, no, don't take this disrespectful, but as soon as you made a connection, I knew you weren't going to be able to pass because that confused you. Yeah. He's like, dude, I'm going to start doing that.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, the mind game in jiu-jitsu, right? You can really turn it into a mind battle. Yeah. And, you know, my thing is, like, there's a point to where you can feel someone's mind, like, quit, you know? And that's, like, kind of the goal every time, right? Get them to that point to where they're like,
yeah, Mateus just did that. Mateus just did that on Sunday in competition. Yeah. This kid hit him with a big throw. Like, yeah, Mateus, you heard him hit the mat. And I was like, oh, God. Yeah. And the dude looked over at his coaches, winked, smiled. And then Mateus does what Mateus does. Yeah. Swept him, smothered him, and made him tap to pressure. Yeah. You know? That's wild. He was up like, I think 12 points to 2 or 12 to 4. Yeah. And then made him quit. Yeah. I was like, that's what we do.
That's what it's all about. That's how you know you dominated something. Yeah. Yeah. That's pretty solid. Couple things I got for you. How did you survive during COVID without jiu-jitsu, or what was going on during the COVID years for you? And then also we'll get into your soap after that.
Cool. Yeah, during COVID, we kept training.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, we covered up the windows and we kept training. Yeah. I think we took maybe 2 weeks off, if that. I think, I have mats at my house, you know. Yeah. Rich has mats at his house, so we were still doing our thing, and then eventually I want to say it was only maybe 2 weeks. Yeah. Papered up and trained.
That's good. A lot of people were, kind of scared to train and, worried about. There's people training with masks on.
Dude,
Like,
that's crazy.
I don't know
man.
how you could do that as a jiu-jitsu player,
Yeah.
you know? Like, first thing I would do is cover your face, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I'd put my gi over that mask and you would be dead in seconds, you know?
Yeah, it didn't make any sense, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was the stupidest time in my life ever. I'm sure
Yeah.
a lot of people can agree.
Yeah, a lot of people. But yeah, that's good that you didn't let it get you down or stop your training at all. You know?
Yeah, no.
That's a lot of the good gyms, you know, out there. Like, no disrespect if you didn't, but a lot of the good gyms or you know, the hardcores were covering up the windows, using the back doors. I snuck into Stockton Jiu-Jitsu a few times.
Yeah.
During COVID, I remember I got the message, go through the back door. Like, all right, cool.
Yeah.
All right, I'll sneak through.
Yeah.
And I remember the first time, I think I was with Bobby or Greg or somebody. And we're walking up, and I'm like, dude, where are you going? And they're like, going into the apartments. I'm like, what are you doing, dude? That's kind of weird. And he's like, no, that's how you're supposed to get in. I'm like, okay, all right,
Yeah.
I get it. That's cool.
Yeah, I'm so glad Bobby's over there, man. Him and
Yeah.
JC.
Yeah, dude, the Curly brothers are amazing athletes,
Yeah.
dude. And just having them in the room, you're going to get better.
Yeah, and the wealth of knowledge that they bring, because they've been training for
Yeah.
close to 30 years, you know? And
Yeah, dude, they're grappling alone. Like, they were black belts in wrestling before they ever started jiu-jitsu,
Yeah,
dude.
yeah.
Like, that's the thing. And that's a hard level to achieve, man. JC is definitely a state champion wrestler, and Bobby the same, you know.
Isn't JC one of the first in this region to
Dude,
win
he's
states?
yeah, like in heavyweight too.
Yeah.
And like he set all kinds of records as a wrestler, and
Yeah.
you know, he's a legend. Like if you follow the Stockton, San Joaquin area wrestling scene, he's a legend in it. And you know, those guys, even back in the day. So when I first started, those guys were training and doing a lot of MMA stuff. And JC, man, that guy was the scariest guy to see in an MMA fight because he was calm, dude. He was cool. He'd be chilling in the back, like eating an apple, and like, dude, just the nicest guy in the world.
Yeah.
You know, and then he'd go into the cage, man, and like he'd just turn it on. Like the Curlies can turn it on, man. That's
they
something
can.
about them. Incredible. I've never seen anything like it. Bobby too. He would go in the cage, like coolest guy. We'd hang out, you know, we'd go in the hotels and stuff, and then I mean, as soon as it was fight time, he'd walk out there and it was on, dude. Like they could just turn that switch.
Yeah, he still does that.
Yeah. It's incredible, dude.
Yeah.
The people that can do that, man, like that switch, that I mean, it's like a superpower.
Yeah. Yeah, that's like, because I've known who Bobby was for a long time, you know. And to get my black belt the same day he did was pretty cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was very cool. I was there. I got to witness that moment, and it was a special moment, man. Me and Bobby have been training together a long time. I know you and Yeppy were training together a
Yeah.
long time, and I mean, for both of us to get to see you guys, you know, get your black belts, that was incredible. And you know, the journey. I mean, the black belt's cool, you know, but like that's really when it gets good, you know. Like that's like the meat and potatoes now. Like
Yeah.
we're fucking on it now.
Yeah, it was a weird feeling
Yeah,
it still is, you know,
yeah,
to sit there and have a conversation like, yeah, you know, like when I started jiu-jitsu, I never thought I would even get a blue belt, you know?
right.
And then here I am, a black belt, you know?
It's wild.
But yeah, it was real cool that Yeppy flew out here from Texas.
Yeah, I saw, and you returned the favor for him, right?
Yeah, that was a surprise though.
Yeah.
So one of his training partners, Jason, he hit me up and he's like, hey, I know it's short notice, but Yeppy's getting his black belt this weekend.
Yeah.
He's like, can you get a hold of his mom and can you guys come out here? So I called his mom and then we booked our flights and we were out there 3 or 4 days later.
That's pretty sick.
Yep.
Yeah.
And they snuck us in the back, 6 blades, snuck us in the back. And then Sanji was doing his little speech for him and Victor Hugo was. And then they had us walk in and it was when he was walking up to get his belt and he saw us, he was like, oh, you know?
Yeah.
And
It's
then
surreal, man.
Yeah. So he was like, I swear I saw you guys pull in the parking lot. He's like, but I was like, no.
Yeah.
So it was cool.
That's pretty awesome, dude. I was, even when I got my black belt, dude, like what got me was when you start seeing like, all right, there's all my friends, all my family. Like the way we did it is they all started walking in like right towards the end, right when we did the ceremony portion. And it's an emotional moment, right? You can
Yeah.
see your kids, your wife, you know, and your parents or whatever, you know, and it gets emotional. I was like, holy shit! All right, I can't look at anybody. I just got to keep training and like, all right.
Did you know you were gonna get it?
I did, yeah, but you know, it's cool. Like it's a lot of people do black belts differently. You know,
Yeah.
everyone does a little different. So I like the way. We didn't do a gauntlet. I was a little bummed about that, but I let my friends do a gauntlet later. So
Yeah.
that was pretty fun. But
Yeah, I actually heard that podcast where you talked about how our gauntlet was pretty brutal.
yeah, dude.
We've upgraded it since then too.
I gotta get. I'll be at the next belt promotion. I gotta get in on it, man. Like
the new way is it's not good.
what's the new way? You gonna
So-
shed some light?
Instead of
You guys have the wiggle line.
yeah, because
That's
there's
what
so
I
many
call it.
people,
Yeah,
right?
there's so many people.
But instead
It's like
of
a
walking,
big U.
instead of walking through, you stay there.
Oh, and everyone walks through you.
Everybody walks through you.
Yeah, that's a good one.
So you'll have someone in the front, someone in the back, and they both hit you.
Yeah.
And the black belts get to hit you twice.
Ooh, that's man. Rich. You could hear the like. Remember back in the day, there was like a little thing you could swing like a toy, and you could hear
Yeah.
the wind like whip. Dude, that's how it sounds when Rich swings his belt, dude. It's
Yeah.
like you hear that wind whip.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. Oh my God, they were lighting them up, dude. It was great.
Yeah, that's a so one of my good friends who just recently got his black belt. When he went up, he was the last one to go up to get for the gauntlet. One of our other black belts, Derek, I was like, "Let's get him." He's like, "All right."
Yeah.
And then I thought he was just gonna hit him hard. That's what I was meaning. Like, let's set the tone. But
Yeah.
no, he took it. We were beating his ass.
Yeah.
Like we both probably hit him 30 times each.
Oh man, those gauntlets can get brutal, man.
Yeah.
Like, did you see that one that is like a viral clip? It's like this little Asian guy, and he's walking through this gauntlet, dude, and he's like staring everyone down after they hit him, like just giving them a fucking look, like letting them know, like, hey, like I'm not playing around. It was the craziest thing I've ever seen in my life.
I don't think I saw that.
Yeah, it was pretty wild. I'll share the clip in it, but I want to get into your soap and how that got started, and I want to hear all about it.
So it was like the spring of 2018 when I started it. I remember that was when Lynn was getting a lot of armbar soap. Their soap's really good. I like their soap. Go ahead.
Is Armbar, are they local too?
They're down in Southern California.
Okay.
They're originally from Hawaii, and then now they're down in San Diego, I believe. Their soap's good. I like it. But at that time, it was like becoming hard to get. So I was like, I want to say at the end of 2017, it was getting really hard to get. And I had talked to Lynn and my wife, and she was like, soap's not hard to make. Let's just make our own. Because I've had staph infection. I don't know,
Yeah.
it's not something to
Wild.
play with. And it's one of those things, once you get it, you can get it very easily every time, like
Yeah.
you can reuse your towel and get it from it,
Yeah.
So I was like, man, if I can't have good soap, like I don't know if I even want to train anymore,
Yeah.
So we started making soap, and my whole goal with it was just to be clean and have my friends clean,
Right.
So I gave Lynn a bunch of soap, and he called me. He's like, this is really good. Like, you need to start selling it. I was like, well, I'm not trying to make money. Like, I just want to keep being able to afford to make soap,
Yeah.
So that's how it started.
Yeah.
I call it Gambit Soap.
Yeah.
I had a dog named Gambit.
Okay.
I named him Gambit off the X-Men, right?
Okay.
But the definition of the word Gambit is basically to take the first risk, right?
Yeah.
Like, so take the chance and like the gamble,
Yeah.
So I thought that applied to jiu-jitsu really well.
I like it.
So I stuck with it. I ran with it, and it's been since 2018. And
Yeah.
I slack sometimes, and I don't make as much soap as I should, but I get busy.
What's your process like? Do you got like a nice setup to make soap, or are you making this yourself? Or are you in a professional like factory, or how is the production like for
It's
you?
still like handmade at
Yeah.
home, So I've got it down to where I can make like I make it by the pound, you know.
Yeah.
And I can make probably 6 pounds in a couple hours.
Oh, wow.
And every pound I get 4 bars of soap. So it's just when I have time to do it, you know.
Yeah.
And there's been a few people who have supported me ever since. My boy out in Northern Sac, Pedro Silva, he's always supported it really well. He's been a black belt under Hoff Gracie since like 2018 or 19.
Wow.
Legit and super legit.
Yeah.
And then Yeppy, obviously, and then Rich and Lynn, you know.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be where it is today without them, you know.
Yeah.
I even sold it to Dwayne Ludwig before.
That's pretty
you know,
badass, dude.
You know, it's surreal, you know, like.
Yeah, I like
So
it.
it's pretty cool.
I like it. I'm excited. You did give me a bar. I'm excited to use it. I'm huge on like cleanliness. That's huge for me, and I actually have really sensitive skin, so like it's easy for me to get like little things popping up. So
Yeah.
soap's very very important. Like and the type of soap you use, like. You hear Joe Rogan talk about it. I think he talked about it recently, but like you can use like an antibacterial soap and it kills all the shit that's supposed to kill the fungus, right?
Yeah. So my soap's all natural stuff. We use essential oils and each essential oil has its own benefit, right?
Yeah.
So I try to do like a blend of different essential oils, so it gets a good smell, and then you know different people like different things, and I'll have some that like some exfoliating and stuff.
Yeah.
Like I have a citrus bar with like orange peel in it, and a charcoal bar with, you know, I probably have like maybe 6 or 7 different scents that we use.
Yeah.
But like I said, everything's natural. So like I have friends that don't train that use it, and like their eczema's gone away, you know?
Right.
So I'm not saying it's going to cure things, but you know.
Yeah. You don't stand by any crazy claims.
No, nothing like
don't
that.
Don't start using it on your hair to get it to grow back.
I think the biggest accolade I ever had from it was someone tried to scam me from India.
That happens
Said
a
they
lot.
bought my soap at TJ Maxx and there was glass in it from the factory. Sent me a Photoshop video.
Was it good or no?
Oh, no, it was
horrible
horrible.
video.
I was like, oh, that's funny. It's never been in TJ Maxx.
Yeah. You idiot. TJ Maxx.
It
You
was
think
funny.
I'd sell to TJ Maxx? No, I'm a Target guy.
For sure.
No, that's very cool, man. And I like that you're doing that, man. And, you know, I definitely want to see more of that around in the scene, man. Like people following their passions and things that they like to do, man. That's probably a pretty fun hobby for you. Probably something you can do with the daughter and you know, take the family and make some soap, you know? And
Yeah, it's cool, man. It definitely it's something I'll do for the rest of the time I do jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
You know, even afterwards, you know, because I don't like that soap that makes you feel all greasy afterwards, and you know, like that weird film, that, like the cheap soap has, you know. But yeah, it was cool, man. Like the first couple years of it, we grinded real hard. Went to all the events, had booths, and tried to get the name out there early, you know. But in the last few years, I've slacked a lot, but I need to start picking it up.
Yeah, but that's good, man. You're still sticking with it, and and you know, like I said, I this podcast wouldn't be around, you know, if we didn't have this kind of stuff. You doing your soap, and there's so many different things. Barbells and Submissions has their clothing line, and there's a lot of local talent, man, and I love seeing people putting it out there and doing it, man. And I'm sure it's a great product. Like it's very professional packaging.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, we were talking about Bobby. His wife makes soap as well.
Yeah,
and,
she does.
And she does really well with it. And I mean, she gets massive orders, and you know, I'll go by there and she's like, oh, I got a ton of soap orders. And, you know, it gets wild with that kind of stuff, dude. If people like your product, you'll get busy.
Yeah, there's, I think it's called Fightcraft in San Jose. That guy, it's a Muay Thai gym. One time he bought like 300 bars from me.
Wow.
You know?
That's cool.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, that's the way. I mean, that'll keep you busy for a while, huh?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome, though. I like hearing that, man. And I definitely go support Gambit Soap out there. Do you have an Instagram page for that?
Yeah, it's at Gambit Soap Co.
Gambit Soap Co. So go check it out. We'll tag it in the description for the podcast as well. And, you know, I want you to continue doing that. We also, you got into a clothing line too, right?
Yeah, a couple months ago, Yeppy and I had this idea. We were just bullshitting over the phone, and we came up with the idea of starting a clothing line, or more so like a brand.
Yeah.
And we decided to call it Endure Operations.
Yeah.
So because like Endure, it's pretty good definition also for jiu-jitsu. Like one of the first lines that comes up on the definition is strength through adversity.
Yeah.
That's jiu-jitsu all day long.
Yeah, that describes it to a T.
And then remain in existence. Like that's one of the first two definitions for the word endure.
Yeah.
So like that's jiu-jitsu 100%,
Yeah.
If
like
you
it.
can't remain in existence, you're not going to remain in jiu-jitsu, So it's like weathering the storm, and it's just jiu-jitsu and life in general, So we came up with a design. Lynn at Creative Vision Printing put it together, put it on a shirt, and I haven't officially launched it yet. Still working on some videos to get something going. But yeah, it should be coming out pretty soon.
Yeah, I'm excited to see more from that, man. There's not enough of that going on, dude. Like I encourage everyone out there, do something they're passionate about, right? Life's too short, man. It really is. And we got to follow our dreams and continue to push out there, and having Yeppy, dude, that helps, man. Like having a good guy by your side, a homie that you can rely on, and somebody that's so, like important in the jiu-jitsu scene too. Like he's doing big things. Yeah,
he really is, man. And he's still so humble about it.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't understand the impact that he's had in Northern California.
Yeah.
He was here for quite a while. He actually lived like just down the street from your gym right here, for a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, that kid his jiu-jitsu's, it's amazing,
Yeah.
And he's as good as he is, he's an even better instructor.
Yeah.
It's
wild because like, there's good instructors out there, but like, like it's always the real humble people that are like some of the best instructors out there.
Yeah.
They're just super humble, and respectful, and I'm sure there's some bad ones out there, that are douches, but
we've probably learned from some.
Yeah.
And those guys who think they have the secret technique, but it's the same thing that everybody shows.
Yeah, it's the same shit. Yeah.
But yeah,
man.
Rich too, man. Rich is. I can't find a bad thing to say about Rich ever.
Yeah.
With his jiu-jitsu and him as a person, I'm just I'm thankful that he took me in when we were looking for a place.
Yeah, it's got a real good family environment over there at
Yeah.
Stockton Jiu-Jitsu, right?
Yeah, and what I liked about it the most is he didn't force me to come there. Like he made it known that the offer was there, and then when I was able to get there, I made it there.
Yeah. Yeah, that's huge, man, and it's a good home for you. It seems to be working out real nice over there, and your guys' team, you guys got a real special bond. But like, the team's just getting better and better and better as a whole.
Yeah.
Like you guys are adding new people to it here and there, and the solid core is always there, and they're just getting incredible guys like Mateus, Big Head, and Bobby, and you, and Lynn, and those guys are animals.
It's getting good, man.
Yeah. I bet some of those, you guys got a lot of black belts over there now. I bet some of those black belt rolls get pretty intense, huh?
Yeah, it's crazy, man, to think about it, because like when you and I first started, there weren't any black belts around here.
None.
There was Nick Diaz. That was probably it.
Yeah. When I first started, Nick wasn't even a black belt.
Yeah.
He was a purple belt or a brown belt, maybe.
I think he was a brown belt when I first started
belt.
too.
Yeah.
But like for the longest time, him and Andre were like the only black belts around here.
Yeah.
And Eric Shingu.
Yeah.
But
I think Phil got his too. Maybe like 2012 or
about there. Yeah.
Somewhere in there.
Yeah.
Dude, it was so hard to find black belts. Jiu-jitsu in general was hard to find back then.
Yeah.
Like very hard. And nowadays it's on every corner.
It really is. But yeah, like to think about it, we have like 9 or 10 black belts now.
Yeah. It's getting up there, man.
And a few of them Rich has taught from the beginning,
Yeah. Yeah, that's got to be pretty rewarding for him, to see a lot of those guys. And like, he's not only building like a business, but he's building like
A legacy.
Oh yeah, this is future generations of jiu-jitsu. You know, it doesn't stop with Rich. These future black belts are going to be pouring into, you know, students for years to come, man.
Yeah.
Like and it may, like, you know, as jiu-jitsu spreads, people move and things like that. It's going to spread all over the world. You know, that's what's really crazy if you think about it. You know, it definitely isn't just limited to Northern California. So.
Yeah, it's crazy, man.
Yeah. But in wrapping this up, man, I just want to say, again, thank you for being on the show. Thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule. And, you know, like I said, I appreciate you. And I encourage you to keep going with the clothing line and the soap company. I just like to give you a few minutes to shout out anybody you'd like to. Just take a few minutes. The floor is yours.
Yeah, obviously I got to shout out Rich Flores at Stockton Jiu-jitsu, you know. One of the biggest, one of the most important people in my jiu-jitsu career, him and Manny, you know, Manny Rocho, Rich Drive. If it weren't for those guys and Yeppy, I wouldn't be where I am in jiu-jitsu, you know. They really helped me develop my game and where it's at and made me fall in love with jiu-jitsu when I was ready to quit, you know. I'm sure we've all been at that point where we wanted to quit.
Yeah.
But Manny and Rich have always pushed me. And then Yeppy just being like my little brother for the last 10 years that we've known each other, you know, and just being so influential and making sure that I train and always questioning me on how to do things and, you know, just making sure I'm always on the best game that I could be, you know. And then Lynn as well, you know, Lynn Du Bois, Creative Vision Printing. It's always been supportive of everything I do, you know, and I got a lot of love for all those guys.
Yeah. Yeah.
And everybody else, you know, anybody else that I've missed, you know.
A legendary group that you named off right there. I love all those people that you named, man. And I'm excited for the future, man. Excited to see where your future journey goes. You know, it doesn't stop at black belt. It just keeps going. So I'm excited to see where it goes for you from here. And, yeah, go check out Gambit Soap on Instagram. Go check them out. Give them a like. Give them a follow. And order some soap, man. Like support Todd over here, and you know, it's definitely going to help you guys out. But thank you everyone for listening, downloading the podcast. Check us out each and every week on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, anywhere where you download podcasts. Check us out. Give us a follow on YouTube. And thank you for supporting Grapplers Talk. This has been another awesome episode. This is Dave, and we are out.
This is Grapplers Talk.